Hello. Hello, everybody. Make sure it's working. Yep, it's working. Hi. Good evening. Hot and steamy. Yeah, it's hot and steamy here. It's always hot and steamy here. Even when it's supposed to be cool, it's still steamy. Hey, Mickey, cool. Yeah, Mississippi. When I was a little baby girl, we lived in Long Beach. So I don't know where you're at, but yeah. Okay. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Facebook Live Sunday here at the Beehive. I hope everybody's doing great today. You're welcome, Marianne. Today we're going to do something fun. It's another In the Hoop project with IQ Designer. If you're new to the group, hello, I'm Anna. We usually work on baby lock machines in this group, or I'm sorry, I demonstrate on baby lock machines in this group on something that's called IQ Designer that is built into certain machines from Baby Lock. And also this will work with My Design Center in the brother machines that have My Design Center. Now, don't fret. If you happen to have, let's say, some embroidery software, you can kind of do the same thing. So just follow along and see what I do and just kind of, it's a lot of fun. Now, this one's a little, I'm very partial to this one, and let me tell you why. Number one, it is on the Baby Lock website. So it was my first pattern that I put on Baby Lock website. It is a free pattern, which is so cool of Baby Lock to do that. They have a lot of great resources for you to learn. And a lot of us Baby Lock educators out there love to show you what we have. So, I have my my group list under the files. So make sure you join those groups of other Baby Lock educators and fantastic educators around the country and the world. So yeah. All right, real quick. Yeah, Diane, it is thundering over here. I got my alerts. Jason's out on the lake, of course. Boy's gonna get struck by lightning one day. I mean, I don't get it, but he loves it. So that's all that matters. And Jason, if you're listening, be careful, please. He listens sometimes. Get off the lake. So what do I mean by photo frame? Well, I'm going to show you some pictures first of it. And then I have one that I made. And it was just a fun little project. Baby Lock wanted to showcase not only IQ Designer, but also, oh, flash flood warning. Oh, good gracious. If the power goes out, we'll finish this a little bit later, okay? They wanted to not only showcase something you can do in IQ Designer, which I love, but you can also, they wanted to showcase some features in Palette 11, which is called Photo Stitch. And if you have not checked out Palette 11's embroidery software, it's absolutely amazing. You can bring a picture in and turn it into stitches. And mine's a cute little story, and I'll tell you about it when I show it to you if you haven't seen it already. I did put the link up in the announcements. So the announcement today, so you could get the directions. There's directions. What? Y'all know I have a hard time getting directions out, right? Oh, that's a big one. So there's directions there. And so you can pull those off and kind of and follow along with that. And you probably saw the picture of the one that I made. And it's so sweet. I absolutely love it. So let's do that real quick. Let me show you how to get there and get the directions so you can either print them off for later. And today I'm going to show you, we're going to go down the directions and we're going to follow along and we're going to make the photo frame. Woo! So I'm going to share my screen. Ooh, it's hot in here. I might get up. Let me get up for a second, guys, and turn on the fan because I am sweating already. All right, ooh, that'll be better. Cool thing is my microphone, I ordered a cordless one, so hopefully I won't be corded next week. So let's see. Oh, that's hysterical. Okay, so I want to go to here and I'm going to close that out. And I'm just going to go to a new tab. Now in Google or Yahoo, whatever one you use, you're just going to type in babylock.com and it's going to bring up BabyLock for you. And this is where you're going to be able to find a lot of cool information. So number one, you'll learn about their products. This is their regular website page. You can go through and look for events. You can look for promotions. Our community, that's where all of the educators and the ambassadors are. So you can go on there and look at all of us and get our info and stuff, as well as learn and create. So I'm right up here. Okay, so I'm going to click on learn and create and a little tab's going to drop down. And what you're going to look for is projects. And once you click on projects, you're going to see tons of fun free projects that you can do with, and it's not just embroidery, it's sewing. There's a lot of sewing on here, a lot of quilts, a lot of fun stuff. Love this one right here. This was made by Denise Schober, the Stars and Stripes wall hanging. So cute. She uses buttons and her white stripes. I want to make that so bad because it's so stinking cute. Now, if you scroll down about, I don't know, a little ways down the page, you're going to see Father's Day photo stitch right here. And you see a little picture and that's the one that we're going to click on. So you're going to click on that. And here's the picture of the one I made right here. And I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit. Maybe I can bring the page over. I can't bring the page over, but look how adorable that is. The little one is my great nephew. Yes, I'm a great aunt. I ain't telling you how old I am. And he is a little over 6 months old now. This was probably when he was about 3 months old. And his daddy, this is my nephew-in-law, Stephen, and they were singing. Well, you know, the baby was opening his mouth and his daddy was just singing along with them. And so I sent some pictures off to BabyLock to say, hey, what pictures do you want me to do this photo stitch with? And there were some regular photos of him just holding the baby and blah, blah, blah. And they said, no, we've got to have the singing one because it's hysterical. That is, let's see if I can zoom in enough for you to see. That is all stitching. And you can do that in palette 11 with the photo stitch. It's so cool. So if you have if you have palette 11, you can do this in there. But what we're going to work on today is the in the hoop frame. So the blue frame right here. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to make that. And I'm going to make the whole project in front of you. So I told you if you were here on Foot Fetish that this might be a little extra long class because, you know, I'm going to make it in front of you. So just bear with me tonight. Now, if you're looking at this page right here, what you can do is just scroll down a little bit and it'll give you some information, blah, blah, blah. And then right here, it says download the project instructions. All you have to do is click on that and you will have the instructions for this frame right here. Let me just do that. I'll click on it and however I don't know what type of computer or device you're on, but I'm just going to open it up because I do want to mention something real quick here and I'm probably going to have to let them know. Okay, so here it is. Here's the directions right here. And let's see. We're going to scroll down just a little bit. And first it starts off with the supplies. And right here, right in this area, let me turn on my mouse selector here. Okay, let me shrink that down so you can see. Right here, it says picture frame. So this is what you need within this area right here for the picture frame. However, if you have a pen handy, if you printed this off, or if you're making this along with me, I'm going to amend the size of the fabric and the shape flex here. And we'll talk about what shape flex here is in just a moment. So where it says fabric, instead of 7, both of the 7s right here, one 7x9 and one 7x11, or two 7x11s, please change that to 7.5. I figured out today I needed a little bit extra fabric. I don't know how I did it last time, but you know, it's better be safe than sorry. So you want to change that. Right below that, where it says stabilizer, right here, where it says 1 7x9, you're going to change that to 1 7.5x9. So that's just a little amendment that I want to talk about in the supplies. Now, right below that, it says photo stitch picture. This is the information you need if you're going to stitch out a photo on, or the way I did it on photo stitch. So we're not doing that today. Remember, we're just doing the picture frame right here. And I've got what you need there. And if we scroll down a little bit, what you're first going to see is, see, there's the original picture. Is that not hysterical? Okay, you're going to see palette 11 photo stitch picture, but keep scrolling down to the 3rd page, and right here it'll say photo frame with IQ Designer. Done. Perfect. So you can print those out and follow along, or just download it to your device and follow along. It goes through the design process as well as the embroidery process. So it's all right there for you. Cool, huh? I think that's really cool. So let me show you the one I made today. And this is where I found out I needed a little bit bigger fabric. You know, the first time you make something and you design something, it comes out great. And the next time you go to make it, you may find that I don't know how I made that last one work, but I might need a little bit bigger fabric. But I love this one. I really do. I had this great picture of me and my sissy when we were babies, and it's kind of a weird size, and this is kind of a weird size, but I just want you, total 1970s pictures. Here we go. So there's my beautiful sister. She's the one with the long straight hair. She has straight hair. I got this. And there's me. They used to call me the baseball with eyes because I didn't have hair until I was like 4. I don't know how old I was. But so there I am, and there's my sister Amy. And I wanted to make a cute little frame. I didn't press this good because I did this one really quickly. But I wanted to make a sweet little pink frame. And what you'll notice is I used IQ Designer to design this whole thing. Okay, so I've got some fill stitches. I got the circles. I put sisters at the bottom. I got a really beautiful satin stitch going around the opening. And I'll talk about some other things to make it a little more stable. I usually take, what is that called? It is called comic book boards. I have a stack of them because I wrap my fabric around them, and you can cut it out to the shape of this and stick it behind your picture. And so I think, you know, I'm going to make some copies of this picture. I'm sure my mom doesn't even know I have it because I took a bunch of pictures from their house, and I will make a few for gifts. Now, what I use, and I don't have a small one because I gave the last one away, but I found, wait, maybe I do. Oh, I do. To display it at, believe it or not, at one of the local shops here in town that is more of a holistic shop. They have, you know, cool things that you can display in your house, and they have these cool plastic clear holders, so you can place your picture in there and just hold it up because there's nothing on the back. So you could put a magnet on it and put it on the fridge. You could really do anything. Bye, Diane. So thank you guys for saying very cute. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to make. Okay, so you can see my picture is slipping, and that's what I'll talk about to get it to where it doesn't do that a little bit later. But it's so much fun to make, and they're make great little gifts. Now, if you do photo stitch, let me tell you, for this size, you will do a photo stitch in the 5x7 frame. This, you need your larger frames, okay? You need at least your 9.5 by 9.5 inch frame. So I'm sorry, you could do an 8x12, excuse me. You could do an 8x12. But how fun is that? All right, so today I am going to be working on the Meridian, because I know a lot of you out there have an Altair Meridian or even a Destiny. This one is the machine that is closest to the Destiny. Can I do this on canvas? The frame, you probably could. You could probably do a raw edge one. Turning it inside out might be a little hard, but you can totally try it. You can get a softer canvas. I just use regular cotton fabric. And I'm going to talk about what I did to stabilize it and make it stiff. So there's a great product that Baby Lock has that I absolutely love for this type of thing. So let me see what Marianne's. Oh, Marianne, I'm so sorry. Yeah, make one for and remembers for. Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Yeah, so I just use regular quilting cotton because you know I'm a quilter and that's what I have. I don't have anything else because for me it's sacrilegious to buy any other fabric for some strange reason, except for Dupioni silk. I love Dupioni silk for embroidery. There is a product that Baby Lock makes, and I'm going to grab it. And there are many other brands that make it out there. Something very similar. I just don't know the names, so I can't compare them. But this is called Shape Flex by Baby Lock. There is a Shape Flex by Pellon, not the same thing. The Shape Flex by Pellon is an interfacing. This is more of a structured material. So you can see it's kind of thick. It's only really about 1/8 of an inch thick. It's not any thicker than that. Now, some of them out there that are like this structured material, they're about 1/4 inch thick, and I think that's kind of too thick. So you want to find something like this. If you're going to look for this product, get with your local Baby Lock dealer. They can order it for you if they do not have it in the store. If you don't have a Baby Lock dealer around you, I would go on their website, do a store search to find the one closest to you and have them send it to you. It's really neat stuff. When we did our class on the door hangers, I have to dig them out. I'll dig them out a little bit. I used this and it made our door hangers really, really stiff. I've used the Shape Flex. How do I get it flat? So good question, because it comes in a roll, right? And it's like this. I haven't pressed this one. Don't put an iron directly on top of it. Take a Teflon pressing sheet and press it down on, or put the Teflon on top and press it through there. Yeah, it may be something like Peltex. I just don't know. I think for some reason I would think Peltex may be a little bit thicker. So we are getting some funky weather. So again, if I click off, I might let the rain pass and then click back on, guys, just so you know, okay? So this is the piece that I haven't ironed. And I only did press this one super quickly. So you can see that it does get pretty flat. It is not fusible. So, which one's this? Yeah, it's not fusible. So I use a little 505. I'm a big 505 fan, and spray it. Denise, the Art & Kay does have the stitch and shape. Oh, I think I might have some around here, but I think it is a little bit thicker. Now try it. If it works good for you, awesome. That's what I say about stabilizers. If it works for you, it works for you, right? But these are totally embroiderable. That's why I like them. So I've got that. And then what I'll need, if you're looking at the directions along with me, is you'll need one piece of fabric. I'm using the cotton fabric again. I'm not putting anything on the back of it because I have this. It is 7.5 by 9. And then you're going to need 2 pieces for the back pieces. And what I mean back pieces is we're going to do an envelope backing, just because it's so much easier to turn inside out. And that's going to be 2 pieces of 7.5 by 11. And I am a weirdo. We all know that. I am using a wash away mesh stabilizer. Reason being for me is I know this is never going to get washed, right? So I don't have to soak it out if you don't want to. But I don't like to burn things out of the hoop because I'm not very careful. And what it means to burn something out of the hoop. So what's going to happen is you're going to have an opening that you have to open right here. And the stabilizer is going to be hanging on, right? Right here. And so if I take a wash away and I just cut it really close, I can take a Q-tip and just dampen it and get any excess that's right around here, right? So if I did a no-show mesh cutaway, what I would have to do is make sure I'm using rayon thread. That's number one. And then I could use a heat burning tool to come along the edges and burn the stabilizer away. Now, can I use tearaway? You can use pretty much anything. However, think about this when using tearaway. When you go to tear away this center, what might happen? You might have tearaway hanging out and you sometimes can't cut close enough for that. So I do use a wash away stabilizer or a wash away mesh stabilizer. I like the mesh because it's light and everything is still pliable. The other thing is if you do that, you can't use steam when pressing because it's going to cause it to shrink up and not look so pretty. I've had it happen. So you got to remember to use a dry iron. I'm not going to dunk this when I'm done. So it's going to stay in there and just like this. Now, if it gets dirty and you have to wash it, then you'll soak it to make sure all the stabilizer is out. But generally with things like this, or when we do the door hangers, I just have you use a wash away and we don't wash them. So I hope that makes sense. Because you're probably looking at directions going, why is the motherfucker using wash away? Because I'm a weirdo and I'm lazy. More than anything, I'm lazy. And I can admit it. Now, you'll just need a regular bobbin, your regular finishing touch bobbin thread or whatever bobbin thread you choose to use. I love finishing touch. It's my favorite and our machines love that. And whatever color polyester embroidery thread you want to use for the decorating and for the words and for the satin stitch. So really it's a low-key project. You probably have scraps. So what we're going to do now is we are going to switch over to the Meridian. Can this be done on the Solaris? Absolutely, but I wanted to make sure that I'm doing this on the Altair Meridian because I know a lot of you guys have one. And if you have a Destiny, this is going to be the closest machine to your Destiny. Okay, so I'm going to switch over and we're going to get to designing. Y'all ready? I am. It's going to be fun. Okay, so I need to turn a couple lights off, go close the door because the dog is barking. All right, you can see my window. It was sunny here about, you can see my window. It was sunny here about 5 minutes ago behind the Meridian, and now it's dark and icky. Sure. All right, so again, this might take a little bit of time, but we're all friends here. We can hang out together, right? All right, here we go. All right, so let me do this. Let me grab my stylus that I use on the Meridian because it just makes it That way my fingers aren't all the way up in everything. And you can use a mouse on your meridian. Let me find my instructions. Where did I put them? Y'all know? Does anybody know where I put my instructions? There they are. Found them. Okay, so I've got my instructions printed out. I am ready to go. Whew, getting icky out there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, hopefully, there we go. Okay, good. Ooh, I don't know what happened there, but all right, so I've got my photo frame right here. And what we're going to work on is, let me take the picture out so you can kind of see what happens. Let me put that somewhere safe. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when it's done. It is going to be an envelope backing, so it's something that we're building. This is a total in the hoop project, no sewing, all embroidery. So the first thing that I want to do is we are going to select IQ Designer right here. Now, no matter what machine you're on, if you have IQ Designer or My Design Center, this is going to work for you. And I want to make sure, I think that looks, let me kind of darken this up a little bit so it doesn't look so bright. Okay. All right, so we want to select IQ Designer. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create the shape of the frame itself. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to select this circle and square icon right here. So this is right here. And everybody calls every one of us calls it something different. It could be called the stamp key. I call it the shapes key, but it's the one with the circle and square. So I'm going to tap on that. And the shape that I'm going to select is this shape right here in the closed shapes. And this is a rounded rectangle. So I'm going to grab that and then select the word OK. Now, what I want to do next is rotate it. So we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. And how I do that is I'm just going to select the word rotate and select 90 degrees and then OK. The next thing I want to do is I then want to change my size. I want to get it to about 4.75 by 6 by 15. And that's just a roundabout. You can get it as close or as far away to that as you want. So I'm going to select the size key. And I'm at 4.93 by 7.05. So what I want to do is shrink it. But what I'm going to do is use my unproportional buttons. I'm not going to use my proportional buttons. And here's the thing. If you take a design and turn it, you would think that if I wanted to make this go into 4.75, that I would use this key right here. No, because I turned it up and down. I'm going to actually use the one that's squatty. It threw me for a loop when I first started doing this and rotating designs, but just play with your buttons. So I want to change that 4.93 to 4.75. So I'm going to use this key to bring it in. I'm almost there. There we go. Now what I would want next, now what I would want to do is use this key right here to make it 6.15. Am I right? Yes, I was right. Okay, we use this one right here to get it to about 6.15. And let me say something really quickly here. My machine is set on inches, and that's where I'm getting my numbers. If you need to change that, what you're going to do is we need to get this back a little bit. There we go. What you can do is you can go right up here to your settings, and then you can click over until you see, it's usually about the 5th or 6th page, unit, and you can set your units to millimeters or inches. I work better in inches, so that's where I'm getting my, if you're seeing millimeters right here, I do not have the conversion for that. You can go up here to your settings, go to the next, or go to the page to find unit and change it to either millimeters or inches. I would change it to inches. All right, I'm going to go to 6.15. Okay, working a little easier now. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's a little too far. This is going to be my inside of my frame. So that is this box right here. Okay, so now we've got that the size that we need. We're now going to select the word OK. And what I want you to do at this point is select the memory key. If you are on a Solaris or a Lumineer, you're going to see the word memory down here. And I can't remember if that's Destiny also, but you're going to see the word memory. And that's what you're going to select, or it may be up here. But if you're on the Altair Meridian or the Like Brother machines, you're going to use the pocket with the arrow going in. So we're going to tap that and save it to the machine. You can save it to a USB if you want, but it's easier to pull off your machine quicker. And yes, you can delete those eventually. Okay, so now that we've got that shape, we need to make the outer shape, the outer square. And this is going to be super easy. You have this great little key on your machine that has a square with a square hanging off the bottom of it. And that is your duplicate key. So you want to tap that. And you're going to see it's going to come off just a little bit. So we need to get it into the middle. And the easiest way to do that is select the size key. And you'll see some move keys right here. And you'll tap that center button right there. And that'll get it completely centered. Now, don't tap off on the screen because we still need that box selected. So what you want to do now is change that box to around 6.75 to 8.15. So we're going to do the same thing. I am going to actually bring this up to 6.15. Or wait, what did I say? 7.5, didn't I? So that's going to go out just a little bit. There we go. And it needs to be 8.15. So I'm going to make it a little bit larger here. And you see why you need the larger hoop now. So this would not fit in a 5x7. There we go. Now I'm going to push OK. And if you're following along on your screen, what you see now is an outer box and an inner box. Ta-da! How do I duplicate on the Solaris? The same thing. You're going to look for a box that has a square with a square hanging off the bottom of it. It's the same key. And it may be up a little bit higher in here, but it looks just like this one right down here. Okay, so now what we need to do, that's probably, Denise, because you unselected your design. So if you don't have a red box around it, then you probably touch the screen. And what you can do is, guys, I'm just going to show her this real quick. So I'm going to keep going back for a few moments. Oh no, I went back too far, didn't I? Well, I saved it. So let's see, let's do all clear. I'm just going to kind of start over. Denise, watch this. So if let me pull that one. See, I saved it. If I touch off here, if I accidentally touch the screen and the red box goes away, then everything is grayed out. So what you want to do is tap that back button and it'll put a red box around there. Now you can select the duplicate. You can go into size. You'll want to center the design and then change your sizing. And since I have to do it all over again, we'll just go, let's see, what was this one? So we're going to go to 8. The top this way is going to be 8.15. Almost there. And then we're going to do 6.75. Okay. So yeah, if you ever get grayed out things, that's because you have unselected the design. And it's easy by just using your back button to get back to where you need to be. That is your friend. Okay. All right, there we go. So now we have our two parts of our frame. We have our inner part and our outer part. So just keep that in mind. This is your inner rectangle. This is your outer rectangle. Because in the directions I say inner or outer. What we first want to do is this is going to be our tack down line. We're going to skip over placement line as a whole. And you'll see why here in a little bit. And this is going to be our tack down line. And this is going to tack down our fabric. And it's also going to tack down our shape flex, that heavier material, together. So what I need to do is I need to give the lines attributes. And attributes are basically what stitch type. And we're just going to do a running stitch on these two. So what you want to look at is on your machine, you have two areas that have 4 or 5 icons, a grouping of 4 or 5 icons, and they look similar. That top grouping of 4, you're going to see that little piece of paper right here at the kind of the bottom right of that area. We're going to tap on that. And right up here, these are the lines we can choose, or stitch types we can choose. We're going to select the running stitch. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select a green color. And then say, okay. Ooh, that's a big piece of lightning. Right out my, ooh, I wonder if y'all heard that. That's really close to my house. So if I see another one, I might stop the video and come back, guys, because I want to make sure that my machines do not get hurt. So if I happen to see another piece of lightning, I'm going to stop the video and come back a little bit later when the storm is over. Okay, so after I've selected that stitch, I'm going to make sure I select my bucket right here. So I'm going to tap that bucket. No. And then what I'm going to do is either take my finger or my stylus and I'm going to tap directly on both of those lines. Okay. So what I've done is essentially I've basically digitized those lines with stitching. Yay! You're a digitizer now. So what I want you to do at this point is you want to save this now. So again, like we saved the inner one, we're going to save now this image with the 2 rectangles. So I'm going to use this pocket right here with the arrow in the center. I'm sorry, pointing towards the center, or memory. And I am going to select the machine. So when I go looking for it, it'll be there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select the word next. And when you select the word next, if you're on an Altair Meridian or something, you may vaguely be able to see. First, you'll see your outer line, and then you can vaguely see your inner line. It is there. Oops, I touched it. It is there. They're both there. So don't get nervous. I promise you they're both there. If stop and come back when the storm is going. Yeah, it seems a little bit lighter after that guy. I haven't even heard anything yet, so we'll see. We'll see. Thank you, though, Norma. You're awesome. Okay, so if you're on an Altair Meridian, you're going to see the word preview at the bottom. If you're on a Solaris, you're going to see the word set. So those of you who are on the Solaris, go ahead and hit set OK. The rest of us are going to hit preview. We'll see our two boxes and set and OK. There we go. We've got the first part. Yay! But hey, the first part's always the part that, you know, once you get that, then you're smooth sailing. Now what we need to do is we are going to create, what are we going to do next? Oh, we're going to go in and we're going to now create our fill stitching around the outside. So although I used pink fabric and this is white and that's terrible lighting right there, but I used white thread in circles going all the way around this little guy. So you can pick whatever you want. So let's talk about how we do that. We're now going to select the Add button. And then wherever it is on your screen, we're going to select IQ Designer. Now we need to pull up that double line area. Okay. So we're going to go to the pocket with the arrow going out right here. And we are going to select the machine. Did I do that right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I went out of order. So what we're going to do is we're not going to select the double. We're going to select the single one first. So what we're doing is we're creating an extra line in the center, which is going to help us trim easier. So we're going to select the one that has just one box. That's our inner box, and hit set. And I'm going to turn that into a triple stitch. And when you start doing the project, it'll make much more sense why I'm doing this extra step, because it is an extra step. But if you've ever done applique before and you've had trouble cutting out around your applique and you've cut into the threads because there's only one line of stitching and it's just a nightmare, I'm making it a little bit stronger to trim around, basically. So I've got that inner rectangle, and now I'm going to come over here to my line properties again. That is that grouping of 4. I'm going to select the little piece of paper, and then I'm going to select the triple stitch, which is the third button in. And I'm going to select a purple color, and I'm doing all these separate colors for a reason. It's just easier to see when you're designing. So I'm going to select that purple color, push OK. And again, I have to select my bucket. And I'm going to tap on the line. And if you're using the purple color, you will see that line turn purple. Oh my goodness. Did I do this wrong? I did, but that's okay. What we're going to do is just wing it here. So when you're doing this at home, follow my directions. Don't follow what I just did because I messed myself up. So what we're going to do right now is just select the word next and select preview, OK. And if you have set at the bottom, hit set OK. I'm going to show you a way to get around what I've done. So we're going to hit set OK. And that's going to sit directly on top of that center area. We do want that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select add. So if you're following along in the directions, I've deviated a little bit, but that's the thing about IQ Designer is you can do things so many different ways and still get the same result. So I'm sorry for confusing you. However, let's get back on track. All right, so we're going to select IQ Designer. And now we're going to go pick, grab the design that has the 2 rectangles. So we're going to go to our recall button, and that is the pocket with the arrow going outside. So we're going to tap on that, and we saved it to the machine. So we will pull on the machine, and let's go grab that double rectangle shape and select the word set. And we're going to do something here where we're going to tell these lines not to stitch. We're going to make them what are called no-sew lines. So we want to go back up to our line properties, that top grouping of 4 or 5. You may have 5 if you're on the Solaris. And we're going to select that little piece of paper. And these, again, these are all the choices of our line attributes, but we also have this one right here that has a zigzag with a line through it. So let's go ahead and tap on that one. It won't let us choose a color, and that is A-OK. So I'm going to select OK. And then what I'm going to do is select the bucket again. And we're going to tap both of these lines. So what happens is when we turn these into no-sew lines, basically they're just boundaries. And that's all that we're going to use them for. They will not stitch out. But we want to put a decorative fill in between the smaller rectangle and the larger rectangle. But we don't want these lines to stitch out yet. So what we're going to do is what we just did is turn them into no-sew lines. So now we can go play with our fills. You ready? Favorite part, right here. So right below the line properties, we have the fill properties, the F-I-L-L properties. In your book or manual or anything like that, they call them region properties, but I like to call them my fill properties because that's where I'm going to go. Yeah, Terry, I messed up. That's what I was saying. I did get you lost. So yours are different. I don't know what yours are. You mean your rectangles are different? Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to come in here and to the fill properties and click on that little piece of paper. And then what we want to do is select, you can either do a stipple right there, and you could go to the next area right here where there's little bubbles. And I'm going to select this little bubble right here. And look what happens. You get a separate folder that pulls up right here. I'm going to hit select. And then I can scroll through and pick any fill that I want. Isn't that cool? I'm going to select the bubbles again for this next one, and I'm going to select the word OK after that. And you can choose any of the colors here if you want. And let's see, I'm just going to leave it the red color, and I'm going to say OK. And what you'll notice, probably on my screen, what you can't see is my 2 rectangles because of the way that the lighting is. However, on yours, you'll be able to see very faintly your 2 rectangles. And what you want to do now under the fill properties is select the bucket. And you're going to tap in between the little rectangle and that larger rectangle. So I'm just going to tap and look what happens. Ta-da! All right, let me answer this question here. On the Solaris, can you use any mouse or does it have to be from Baby Lock? Good question, Alina. On the Solaris, the Meridian, and the Altair, and I'm pretty sure on the Destiny, you do not have to use a Baby Lock mouse. The best mouses to use are the inexpensive ones, believe it or not. And I think I got mine for $7. And it has to be a wired mouse. So it cannot be wireless. It has to be a wired mouse. So yeah, you can go to your big box store and pick one up and plug it in, and it'll work. It's really helpful with IQ Designer. So that's a great question. Okay, so now we have our decorative stitching on the outside area of our frame. And all we have to do now is select next. The first thing I want you to do, if you are not on the Solaris, you're going to turn off the outlines because those are extra lines that we do not need. If we leave those outlines on, what happens is it'll stitch out all these outlines. We just don't need them. And the outlines would be the inner line and the outer line. So I'm going to, if you look right here, you can see the word on. I'm going to tap that area and it says outline. I'm going to turn it off and then hit set. Then what I can do is change the size of my bubbles. So I can have them to be at 100%. I can go all the way to 50, or I can take it all the way up to 200. So I think I did 125 on my first sample. So I'm going to change that just by clicking on it here. On the Solaris, it's going to be right in this general area right up here where I'm kind of hovering. And you'll tap on that, and I went to 125, and then I'll hit set. Now, here's the thing. If you're on the Solaris, you're going to see yours change real time. On the Altair, the Destiny, or the Meridian and the Destiny, we need to select the word preview. Okay. And this will show us what it looks like. If I was unhappy with that size, I can then hit the return button. But once I hit the set button, I cannot go back and change it. So if I wanted those to be smaller, I could just select the word return, go back to my sizing, which is right here, and maybe bring it down to 110 and hit set, preview, okay. I like that better. Now, once I'm happy with the way that it looks, I'm then going to select the word set and okay. And you'll see it fall right inside of our frame. Is that not super cool? Now what we need to do is we're going to go back into IQ Designer and create the satin stitch. And I know that lighting's terrible and I apologize, but we're going to create the satin stitch that goes around the inside of our frame. So we're going to select the word add, IQ Designer. We're going to come to our pocket to retrieve that one smaller square or rectangle. So that first rectangle that we designed, the single one, we're going to grab her and select the word set. And now we want to turn this line into a satin stitch. So we're going to go to our line properties right here. And we're going to select our little piece of paper. And we're going to make sure that our satin stitch, and that is the, oops, I'm sorry, I accidentally touched the other one. That is the first little icon right here, the zigzag. That is your satin stitch. And I am going to select an orange color for that one and select OK. Now what I need to do is make sure I select my bucket that is in the line properties area. And now I can tap directly on that line and it'll change to orange. I'm now going to select the word next. And even though on the Solaris, you'll be able to see this real time, but on the other machines, this is a satin stitch. You can't tell right now, but it is truly a satin stitch. And I can see right here, oops, excuse me. I can see right here that it is definitely a satin stitch selected. But when you do something that's kind of applique-ish, and this is kind of applique-ish, I know it doesn't seem like it, but we're creating an opening and we're cutting around and we're sealing that off with a zigzag satin stitch. This 0.080 is too tiny of a satin stitch to catch the fabric, so you might have pokies. If you are set on inches, like I showed you earlier up here, you want to select the one that says 0.080, and that is your zigzag width. And I want to change that to about 0.2, I think is what I told you guys. because that one covers really nicely. If that's the one that, let me make sure. That's exactly what I told you. So we're going to add the plus or use the plus sign to get it to 0.200. Now, when I'm done with that, I can select the word set. And again, we can't see it yet, but if you're ready to see it, you're going to select preview, okay, and there it is right there. Right there. Now, if I wasn't happy with that, then we could select the return key, right? And go back and change it. But I'm happy with it, and I'm going to select the word set and okay. And now we can see that our satin stitch is right where it needs to be. So basically what you're doing is you're building from the bottom up when it comes to an in the hoop design. And it's really cool to see the process. But now we get to have a little fun. I am now on page 5. Now you could go and you could bring in little embroidery designs and put all the way around this. At this point, after we put the zigzag stitch down, this is where you do this. You can add additional things to it. And I'm going to add the word sisters to it. So I'm going to come down here to the word add. And we're not going to IQ Designer yet. First, we're going to go to our fonts right up here. And I'm going to select a pretty font that I may like. I like this one, actually. And I'm going to start with my S. And here's the thing about fonts that's a good little tip for you guys. So once I click on it, you can see it pops up here. But I know it's just even visually, I can see that it's going to be too big to put it in the area between the small rectangle and the large rectangle, because that's where I want my words. So if you look right below your lettering, you have an option that says LMS. So that's large, medium, small. For this project, it's best to select or to tap it until the M is highlighted, and you can see that my S got a little smaller. It's going to be the perfect size. So now I can finish typing out the word. Sisters, sisters. Anyone watch It's a White Christmas every year like I do? Okay. So that might even be a little too big. I'll test it out and see. Now, depending on which way your picture goes, if it's up and down like this, or if it's sideways like mine, I will go in there and rotate that. So, but first I'm going to select the word set, and it's dead in the center. So I want to select the edit key. And for me, I'm going to select rotate, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then I can use my move keys to get it straight down, and it'll be perfectly centered. I think that'll work. I'm going to sneeze. I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me. Okay. And hopefully I spelled it right. Even like that better than the first font I chose. Yeah, that looks good. So I've got that going down at the bottom. Now you could have it at the top. You could add little tiny designs all the way around. You could get really creative with this and make some really beautiful frames. All right, since I'm done with that, I'm now going to select OK. And now we're ready to add the final stitch. The final stitch is going to be the tack down for the 2 back pieces. So what we need to do now is we are now going to select the word add, and one final time we're going to go to IQ Designer. And what we want to do at this point is pull up the rectangle with the the design with the 2 rectangles. So we're going to go back to our pocket that has the arrow facing out. I'm going to select it, select where I saved it, which was my machine, and I'm going to select the design with my 2 rectangles. I'll select it and hit set, and there we go. Now I'm going to tap off here so we can really see what's going on. So I have my outer rectangle and my inner rectangle. At this point, I want to get rid of my inner rectangle. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can take your eraser, select whichever one or whichever style you like, and go in and erase the whole thing. Or you can look for this key right here, and it is a dotted single square. So it's a single square with dotted lines. That is your basically kind of like your selection tool. It is down here on the Solaris. On the other machines, it's about in this area. So I'm going to tap on that. And what I'm going to do is start above the inner rectangle, and I'm going to draw a box around it, just around that inner rectangle. And now all I have to do is hit the pair of scissors, and it removes it for me. So I'll do that one more time. Ungroup. So again, I can either take my eraser, come in and erase that. Just make sure you get it all. You can zoom in and get it all. Or I can use my selection box. That is that single dotted line rectangle. Make sure it's on. I'm going to come a little bit above the inner rectangle, draw that red box around. Oops. Let me try that again. I'm sitting off to the side, guys, so it's a little bit weird. Okay, so I'm going to grab that, and then I'm going to use the cut key to remove it. Now on the Solaris, what you'll see is when you touch this, it'll open up a little menu. And there's one that looks like just a magic wand. And with the magic wand, you can turn that one on and touch exactly what you want to delete. So, or excuse me, exactly what you want to select. So you could have just tapped on the line. And I can show that more at another time, what those tools do. They're pretty cool. Okay, now what we need to do is turn this final line into a triple stitch, because that's going to be our securing tack down stitch from our back pieces. I am now going to go back to our line properties right here and select that little piece of paper. I'm going to select the triple stitch. And this last color, we're going to do my favorite color. We're going to select pink and OK. And you guessed it, we're going to select our bucket and tap directly on the line. Let's now select the word next. We're going to select the word, if you're in the Solaris, select set OK. For the rest of us, we're going to select preview, OK, set OK. And guess what? It's done. So let's talk about making it. So you do have the directions on how to get ready for everything, and it goes through all the color steps and everything. So what we want to do is, let's zoom you over here, and let me turn my computer towards me so I can see the lighting situation. There we go, and it's not too bad. I have my bobbin in, I have my top thread, which is a white thread. I have all my pieces here. I am going to take my 7 by 9 inch piece and of cotton and my 7 by 9 inch piece of the Shape Flex. I did spray a very light mist of the 505 on this side. And it's just going to hold my fabric in place. And I'm going to put the wrong side of the fabric down to it and smooth it down. Now, I'm going to center it visually in the hoop. I'm going to take some embroidery tape, because I love using embroidery tape. It's the best stuff in the world. And this is the R&K embroidery tape. It's just my favorite. I love it. And I'm just going to hold this guy down, just by putting a piece of tape at the bottom and a little piece of tape at the top. Now, there's other brands out there that make it. Kimberbell makes it, and I'm sure there's some other ones. So whatever you like to use. I don't like, and I'll just tell you, I just don't like glue painter's tape. I don't think it's sticky enough. The embroidery tapes that are made out there are made to be sticky and not add a gum if your needle goes through it, or get your fabric gummy. All right. Now I am using white thread, so we may not be able to see a whole lot, but well, you'll be able to see. Okay, so now what I need to do is on my embroidery screen here, or on my screen, I'm in the edit screen, I'm going to select embroidery, and there we go. Now I'm going to place the hoop on, and you can do one of two things. If you're on the Solaris, you could use the camera to scan in. You could, on the Ultera Meridian, use the app, and we've done multiple videos on using the app for that to scan in your fabric. But there's also one other tool that you can use that I don't show a lot, but it's there. If you look down here, you're going to see this little trace guide. This is a trace key, and they probably call it something different. But I'm going to tap that, and then right up here on your screen, you're going to see the same little icon. Now, once I tap that, watch what happens. I'm just going to bring you right here. So what it's going to do is trace around to show me where my embroidery is going to go. And sometimes that's just quicker if you're just doing a box. And basically, we're just doing a big rectangle, right? And so I'm pretty darn good. I can probably move it up, just my whole design up just a little bit by using my move keys. And I think I'll be pretty set. Okay. Now, remember, I told you I wasn't making a placement line because I just wanted to put my fabric down and just start sewing. Okay. How do you auto baste on the Solaris? I've never seen how to do it. Good question. Let me quickly show that, because on your embroidery screen, and this is on your Meridian and your Ultera, and a lot of the Baby Lock machines. So if you're looking at your screen, Denise, you're going to see the word layout, and you're going to see a box with a flower around it. And once you tap it, it adds an automatic basting stitch, and it's the first stitch. Super easy. But I'm going to turn it off for me. I don't need it because I've got the tape. But it's just the little flower in the rectangle box. Pretty cool, huh? And you can go in your settings and move it further away and all that. All right, so we're going to do the first stitch. Here we go. Y'all ready to see this? It goes pretty quick from here. All right, so my first is my tack down stitch. And since this is a, and I get this question asked all the time. When we select the running stitch, it goes around twice. How can I stop that? Well, you can't change it in IQ Designer. It's always going to go around twice. But you can always stop it with your start stop button after it does its first go around. But I always just say, it's more security. Just leave it. It's fine. And especially if you're doing an in the hoop project, go ahead and make sure you do the 2 times. But also we're going to do the triple stitch. Remember, we changed a couple things to the triple stitch. Well, the rain has lightened up. Hallelujah. That's the thing about Florida and rain. We never really I never really worry about it because it goes by so quickly here. It's like it'll be raining for 10 minutes and then sunny for the rest of the day. And then it'll rain for another 10 minutes and then it's done. So it's just summertime to us. So I never worry about the rain. I'm a weirdo, but the thunder I do worry about. That's why I was like, we might not make it, but we did make it. All right, so now it's doing the inner rectangle. And thanks to you guys who are hanging on to watch me stitch this out. Because, you know, it will give you a little extra pointers, especially when we go to take the centerpiece out. We're kind of like a reverse applique. I don't know. I hate to even call it an applique because it's not an applique. But you can kind of, when you're cutting, think of it that way. Now our next stitch is going to be the triple stitch, and that triple stitch is just in the center, or just the smaller rectangle. And again, there is a good reason why I want that there. So we'll let that do that. And if you have questions, just let me know. Let me get a sip of my drink, my non-alcoholic drink. What you also want to have is a pair of applique shears. And y'all, if you've seen me do applique, y'all know I love the Quilter Select ones because they have the duck bill, but they have this nice sharp point on them. So I'm using those, and they're comfortable. And you can get them in left hand. I'm not left-handed, but we order them in left hand all the time for people. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is remove the center. Don't be scared of this. I'm going to give you 2 steps to do it. And I'm going to kind of pull this guy out and then just kind of do it on the bed here. Ideally, you'd want to take it to a flat surface, but I just don't want to drag you guys all the way around my sewing room. That's annoying, I'm sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip and I'm just going to come under the fabric first and just kind of make a little snip right up to the edge there. And I'm going to cut the fabric first, just because it is easier. Because what we don't want to do is we do not want to cut the stabilizer. And I'm actually using these wrong because I am at the angle I am. So usually the flat belt would go underneath, not on top. So it's just because I'm doing it this way. And I have to break this out. But normally I would have it go in the right way. And I'm getting as close to those stitches as possible because we don't want any pokies. And the pokies are those, like if you've ever done machine embroidery and you have those little threads sticking through and you're like, oh man, what happened? You know, now I can go the other way. There we go. All right, now I can turn it. Excuse me, guys. I never said my work is pretty or the process is pretty. Okay, so that part's gone. Now what we have to do is get through. Yes, the bill goes underneath. It really does. Yes. So what we want to do is kind of poke at the shape flex and try to snip it just a little bit. Get under there and start making like a little hole. You can even stick your finger underneath and make sure that you are not going through the stabilizer. Just don't cut yourself. Don't blame me. Don't say Anna said. And I'm going to just start trying to get through. And usually once you get a little hole, you can pull it back. And I need to get a little bit deeper. And you'll start to see the stabilizer. There we go. And what we don't want to do is cut the stabilizer. So if you've ever done any like reverse applique or anything like that, I'm going to pull that back and I can see my stabilizer right there. So I'm good to go now. Now, if you do cut your stabilizer, don't fret. Just load another piece of stabilizer underneath. No biggie. Things can always be fixed. We can always figure it out. Oh, I almost cut my cable. Good Lord. Welcome to my life. Yes, the bill normally goes underneath, and it is just easier to use when you're using these scissors, but you can use them any way you want to. What you do in your sewing room is your business, not mine. There we go. And I even saw that I did make a little hole in my stabilizer, but it's so tiny that I'm not going to ever even think, oops, well, you went backwards a little bit. I'm not going to even worry about it. Let's brighten it up a little bit. That seems so dark. There we go. Okay. And I'm getting so close to those stitches. Now, the reason why I have multiple stitches down there is if I happen to cut one stitch, guess what? It doesn't matter, right? Exactly. Thanks, Sally. It is a pretty color, isn't it? Yeah, I usually do more subtle colors because I was like, you know what? Let's have fun. Let's have fun this time with my manicure. It is summertime, so. Okay. And I'm almost done getting that out. Ta-da. Now I do see a little bit extra here that I'm gonna just kind of get in there and clean up because I don't want my satin stitch to look horrid. I want it to be pretty, especially if I'm giving it as a gift. So I just get under there and just lift it with the tips of these scissors. Get under there. And there's a little piece right here that I want to lift and just kind of get close, but that's where I don't want to cut the stabilizer. There we go. All right. So now kind of making sense now, huh? Because you can see that now there's my opening. Sometimes it's easier to show you really than me trying to explain something because I'm not a great explainer. However, I can darn sure show you what I mean. All right. So now the next thing that's going to happen is the fill stitching. So I'm going to drop that and I'm going to let that stitch out and then it'll do the satin stitching. So let's let that stitch out, just take a few moments. And all in all, this whole thing to stitch out, oh, my thread even, ooh, didn't catch my bobbin thread. Remember, I love it when things happen on camera so y'all can see that things happen to me too. So if that ever happens, what I suggest doing is just taking the bobbin, pulling it out and putting it back in again if your top thread does not grab your bobbin thread. And I'm going to restart that stitch. And if you need to know how to restart anything, you're going to use the plus minus on your machine, which is generally down here at the bottom. And if I want to restart this guy, I'm just going to go up one and it'll bring me back to the beginning of that particular stitch. So let's go down and there we go. Try to remove this so it doesn't get hit. Oh, thank goodness this is water soluble, right? Oh, what a mess. Let's get that. There we go. And I can get that little bit of stabilizer out of there later. Because that's not going to hurt it. There we go. Now everything's working the way it should be. So it's doing my circles right now. Just doing my pretty little decorative stitching. Now again, if I went out of order of something, that's just the thing. You know, I'm one of those people like directions are just guidelines, right? You know, especially when it comes to IQ Designer, because there's a million different ways to do one thing and it all looks the same. And so sometimes I do go out of order, or I do, but I know it's going to end up the right way. So just make sure to follow the directions and you'll get the same effect that I got. Some nice little bubbles that you probably can't see very well because I am using white thread because I wanted to do pink on or white on pink. And once you have this set up, if you're doing like Christmas ones, you just you designed it once and you can just keep remaking them, save it to your machine, save it to a USB stick, and you can just keep remaking them and remaking them. Okay, it's coming to the end here of the circle stitching or the fill stitching. And the fills are so much fun to play with. I mean, really, these this whole machine just makes me look like I am good at what I do. Thanks, Judy. Hey, Judy, how are you? Oh, you could, Betty. You could. I just, like I said, you know, there's a million different ways to do something. And absolutely, you could totally do that. But the line does end, you know, right there. So it's really kind of up to you, right? We just want to do it before the satin stitching, which is next. So let's drop that and let's do that now. It's a good question, though. Why couldn't you? You totally could. And I may have it in the direction. I put the directions aside. Could you put a piece of vinyl in the, oh. Ooh, Lynn. Now I have to try it. Lynn, Dorothy, guys, y'all have great ideas. You know what? On the next one I make, I'll try it for you. Unless you want to try it, like you could put the vinyl down before it did the triple stitch. Well, what I would do is trim it out after the triple stitch and put the vinyl down and then trim around the, of course, you would have to do you'd probably have to do a tack down stitch afterwards. So you might have to back it up to do the triple stitch again, or maybe add a single or the running stitch in there. That's a great idea, guys. And then do the satin stitch. Good idea. Yeah, I'd never even thought about that. Y'all are genius. This is why I love having a group. I love your ideas. Love your ideas. That's awesome. All right, Dorothy and Judy, you are now on the mission with me to do it with vinyl. Now I am, for this particular, because I didn't grab my 90 needles off of my other machine, I just have a 75 in right now and it is working fine. But if you're going to do the vinyl, I would definitely say try a 90 needle if you're having problems. That's a great idea. Oh, and Lynn, I'm sorry, I said Dorothy and Judy. Dorothy, Lynn, Dorothy, and Judy, because Judy says she wants to try it. Yeah, great idea. Now I'm going to stop it for a second because I see a little bit of extra fuzz here that I want to get off. Because if I'm actually going to use this one as a gift, I don't want it to look icky. There we go. I just had a little extra piece of the Shape Flex right there. And really, I think the satin stitching is the longest piece or longest stitch out time. Marianne, that's a good question. So Marianne said, would you put the vinyl for the opening between the Shape Flex and stabilizer? No. What I would do, probably what I would do is I would do the triple stitch first. Then I would cut out the center. Then I would lay a piece of vinyl on top. Oh wait, I would do the triple stitch, trim, put the vinyl piece on top, tack it down again, either with that triple stitch or add a separate running stitch, trim on the outside of it, and then do the satin stitch on top. Now you would probably want to make your satin stitch a little bit wider though. Okay, let me see. And that's a good question. There, you know, would the vinyl stand up to the triple stitch, you know, or just perforate it? That's it. We're just not sure yet. We just kind of have to try it. You may have to do where you, after the satin stitch, you lay it down and you put a running stitch around it to tack it down. Now it would show that running stitch, but you could just trim it really close. And, you know, I've seen things like that before. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways. We'll have to work on that. That's a good idea. Margaret says, do you always use a 75 to embroider? I use either a 75 or a 90. 75, I normally, because it's a sharp, you know, really tiny sharp one. That's for my regular embroidery usually, but it's working good on this. 90, a lot of times I use the 90 for my In the Hoop projects just because I'm going through thicker stuff. So, you know, it just kind of depends. These would be cute, a little smaller for a Christmas tree ornament. Oh, good idea. Can you put a zigzag stitch to be placed prior to the sewing set? You could, I think what you can, if I'm, maybe, I think I would have to check that out. It depends on what machine you're on, I think. So let me, yeah, now y'all got me all interested. And you're asking like the best questions so I can go and figure it out for you guys. Could you put clear vinyl under the stabilizer before you add the backing and then cut it out? Yeah, you could do that. You could take a whole piece. That would be, yeah, it just wouldn't be attached to this part. It would just be attached to the backing. I mean, why not? Or not the backing, but the back side. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, that might work too. So there's a couple different ways, right? That we could do this. So let's do a little research, my friends. All right, we're almost to the end here. There we go. There she is. It's looking so good. Love it. Now you can see the little on screen. You can finally see the little circles. Isn't that cute? I love it. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. We got to do the words next, right? So that's what's next. So we're going to let it stitch out the word assistance. And I'm just doing that in white too because I wanted it to be really subtle. So the Jackie said the vinyl will stand up just fine. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Jacqueline. Yeah, you're going to still be able to insert the photo, Marianne, and you'll see why, because we're doing an envelope backing, and it'll make sense when I actually put it on here. So we're letting it stitch out the words. But I also think this would be really cute if you had just, and you know, guys, I love bees. What if we took just a bunch of little bees and kind of placed them around, you know, from embroidery, and just find some tiny little cutesy designs, or beach stuff like little seashells, or, you know, I mean, oh, you could do so much, and you guys have great ideas. So, and y'all always show me off. And what I mean by that is when I tell you, or when I show you to do something, y'all stitch it out and y'all do something really cool with it. And I'm like, ooh, why didn't I think of that? So perfect. All right, sisters. Every time when I was designing this, I'm like, that's all I can sing in my head is the Sisters song from White Christmas. It cracks me up every time. I like the little ornament idea. If I added the vinyl on the back with the backing, yes, you would still be able to, because what you would do is you would put the backing on the underside of the hoop. Excuse me, let me start over. You would put the vinyl on the only thing about that is you would have to cover the vinyl up with some tissue paper so it doesn't get marks from the feed dogs, or even the, you know, here. But you would tape that to the back underneath here. Your top or your back pieces are going to get placed on top, and we're going to flip it inside out. So yeah, you would be able to still, that, you know, I can see it in my head how I think that that would work. Okay, cool, Mickey. Yeah, Mickey said that Kimberbell did something like that before. So it's got to be a way to be able to do it. Yeah, absolutely. The good from the wash away come off vinyl after setting it. You know, Susan, I'm not quite sure. I don't know. It's you know, these are a lot of great questions that we'll just have to kind of figure out, right? Look how cute! Look at it. Look at my little frame. It's coming out. Oh, the goo. Yeah. Well, since I'm not going to wash this when it's done, the wash away is going to stay in here. The only place that it's going to get wet is along this area here, because if I have any extra hanging out. But if I'm not going to dunk this, I'm not going to dunk this at all when I'm done. I'm just going to let it be and let it, you know, yeah. So, okay, now let's put the backing on. So you remember we have two 7.5 by 11 pieces. And what you do with those is you take those and you fold them in half along the long edge. So you've got your 7.5 still going this way. with the wrong sides together. We're going to place one on top with the folded edge inside towards the center. And then we're going to take the second one and do the same thing. Now, what's very important is you don't want to just go on and start stitching now, because it's going to be all good and fine when it comes around here. But what can happen right here is the foot can pick this piece up. So there's a couple things you can do. You can take a piece of wash away topper and put on top, hold it down, let it stitch, and then rip it away. Or I just take a piece of tape that's long enough to cover the whole entire fold and some, and tape it down right along that fold so my foot can ride cleanly over that area. So I'm just going to drop my foot, and this is the last step. Let's see. Thanks, Kathy. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the feedback. I really appreciate it. Well, I love figuring it out for everyone. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I love doing this. So it's really fun to me. I don't sleep much because I'm always thinking of something new to do with the machine. But in my philosophy of teaching is, now that may happen because I didn't press it down hard enough. My tape decided to kind of come up, so I'm going to push it down. Look, my needle broke. Ah! All right, fine. Guess what? We got to replace the needle. And that was my fault for not paying attention. My philosophy on teaching is you guys buy these beautiful, expensive machines, and there's my pieces, perfect. And there's so much to learn on them. And, you know, I have the time. I can show you how to do that. And I really enjoy doing it too. So, and yes, that normally does not happen through that tape. It just got picked up a little bit. And that's my fault for not pressing it down really, really good. So let's quickly change our needle. And this is where that 90 needle probably would be best. I have used my design. Oh, thank you guys. You're very, very sweet to me. And I really appreciate you guys, because guess what? I hate to say it like this, but it's not like it gives me something to do. It allows me to explore more. Okay, so normally when you're changing your threads, my thread jumped back up in here. Normally you would not want to pull it out the backwards. You want to cut and pull this way, but you're going to see me doing it the wrong way but I'm doing it very gently and pulling my thread down. Because when you pull your thread backwards, there's a lot of little tensioners and funky things in there. So that can get caught on the thread. All right, so let's try it again. There we go. And I'm going to back her up a few stitches and maybe press that down really good, and hopefully that doesn't happen again. And if it does, I'm just going to cry. No, there we go. There she goes. Ooh, Cindy. Yeah, yeah, you could probably, yeah. I would have to think about how we could do that, but that's a really cool idea. Yeah. Yeah, Marianne, I like when things like that happen on camera. It doesn't embarrass me, and it doesn't, you know what I mean? Because I am human. My machine is a machine. And I'm going to just make sure this one's pressed down good. And you can see how I handle it, meaning like if you get a broken needle in the middle of, you know, or something weird happens, what do we do? Or how do I go back? Or what do I do? You know, it happens to us all. And so, yeah, I'd rather it happen while we're on camera so you can see what to do. Yeah, I know. I hate doing that too. Thanks, Sylvia. Thank you for your kind words, guys. Look. Okay, so now what do we do? Okay. All right, so it's done. So I'm going to first take this tape off. And since it's kind of perforated from the stitches, the multiple stitches that went through that side, I'm just going to pull it off. There we go. And I'm going to remove it from the hoop now because I can do that. And for this, I really like to trim a 1/8 of an inch away, not a 1/4 inch away, because of this thick stuff, you know, the shape flex, you want it, how do I say this? It's harder to press with it being a 1/4 inch. So I do an 1/8 of an inch away. So I'm just going to come in and first just do all, and really I would do this with a rotary cutter, but I'm just, since we're all here together, I'm just going to trim it with my shears about an 1/8 of an inch away, all the way around. I'll come back to my corners. I'm going to do my long edges first. Oh yeah, get through there. That's actually a little too far away. And I just want to get some of this stuff off. Let it fall to the floor like my idol, Miss, come on, Eleanor Burns. If y'all ever ask me who my favorite quilter is, it's Eleanor Burns, in case there's ever any trivia ever. She is like, and I got, when I got to meet her, I thought, and I got to take a class by her, I thought I was going to pass out. It was like meeting a rock star to me. Okay. All right. This is a really ugly trim. However, we'll get the idea here. Let's brighten it up a little bit. Oh, wow. Not that bright. There we go. That's good. Okay. So now what I do is I go, where are my tiny scissors? I go around the corners because they are rounded. And we're going to go really close, about an 1/8 of an inch. And I am actually not getting close enough. I'm sitting at a weird angle trying to hold it onto camera, but you will totally get the idea. Okay. And then I do go in and notch those corners, just because that's the way we've always been trained. So I would go through there and give those just little notches around all the corners. Then what I'm going to do is flip it upside down, and I have my wash away right here. And I can take my fingers and see, here's the opening. Now you have the opening to flip it inside out. And I'm going to take my fingers and push it up in the center and just cut. And then I'm going to cut really close to the stitching up here. Now these scissors I love, guys. I have them in multiple sizes, and they're serrated, and they've got these awesome handles. And these are by Tim Holtz. I have gone through several pairs of them. I will buy them just because to have them. I love these shears. I love serrated shears. Obviously, I have a full obsession with scissors, if you didn't notice. And because I was a hairdresser for 12 years. No, I will never go back to it. And that's kind of my thing, is always finding the best, the fanciest, the most fun, exciting thing. So I have so many scissors you guys wouldn't even believe that I love. And you'll hear me call them shears because that's just kind of how I learned to talk about them. But okay, so there's my hole. And let me see. Could you reverse thread it? Christine, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know what that means. To be honest with you, I wonder if I could. Okay, now that I have an opening, you want to see how easy it is to turn this thing inside out? Look. Just going to push it from this side. because again, I'm lazy. Yeah, Marianne, she is a sweetheart. She is a neat lady, and I was very, very lucky to meet her 1 year at Baby Lock Tech, and I even did the whole fangirl thing where I'm like, "Oh my God, you're my favorite," and she's like, "Whatever." Like I hear this all the time. Okay, so you saw me flip it inside out, right? Right. Now, if you had the vinyl or something like that, you would, flip it inside out through your pocket on the back. And then you're just going to take and mush the sides and you're going to go and press it really good. I do use a clapper. And if you're not familiar with a clapper and a wool mat, when I'm pressing, and of course I press from the wrong or the other side, so I'll press from this way. So when I'm pressing, I'll press it down and I'll use a wool mat underneath and a wooden clapper. And I'll leave the wooden clapper on each side for like 3 or 4 minutes. And what it does is the heat absorbs into here and then redistributes. It's really cool. And then I've got the nice flat, and this one can be pressed again. So, and then I've got my nice flat little guy here. Now, also what I can do is take, let me grab one. I didn't cut it yet. Get a hold of it. Here we go. Take a piece. You can order this on, anywhere really. And these are comic book boards. And so you can kind of cut the shape out here and stick it in the back here and it'll hold it up nice and taut. So it's really, really cool. These are really nice. And you can wrap your fabric around them. Ta-da! So super cheap. I mean, you can get 100 for like nothing. So that's normally what I do. Okay, so let's come back to, let me put myself back on camera. You've seen a lot of my hands today. So high production here at the Beehive. Okay, here we go. Hi, there I am. Hey, I'm back. Okay, get that glare off. I'm gonna do some, I'm just gonna search and see if there's any questions, but go ahead and make some. I want to see them. I love when you post your stuff. So make some little photo frames. Try them with the vinyl. I'm excited to try it. I'll probably be able to try it out in a couple weeks. I've got a lot going on right now. But these could be a really cute gift, right? And I like the small idea, the small one for like Christmas tree ornaments. I think that would be really cute. So, and also, I was thinking about another one that I'm going to do is like with cute dog fabric and we can put a picture of our dog in it and all that. So let me see. Oh, the whiteboard is comic book boards. They put them behind comic books to keep them nice and straight, like the people who are like really serious with comic books. If you want to hang it on the wall, what I would do is maybe take a ribbon and stitch it here and hang it this way. I mean, you can pin it in. I mean, everything I've got here is pinned in. Kind of like the this guy here where I have a ribbon hanging from the back of it. You could do that. Okay, let me see if there's any questions. Put your thread is full and just act like you're threading it. Oh yeah, that's how you, okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Ernestine, good question. What type of vinyl is that? So it's what I use is when you go to look for sewing vinyl, I use a 12 gauge, and that's literally what it's called, 12 gauge, and that's the thickness of it, and that's the best one for me to sew with. And if you're going to actually physically sew it, you want to use a Teflon foot. No, it's not Cricut vinyl at all. No, no, it's a clear vinyl. It's almost like having a piece of glass, but it's the vinyl. Thank you, guys. Kathy, I'm so glad to make your trip faster. That's cute. I love it. Hey, Louise, thank you. Oh yeah, the Tim Holtz scissors, and I'll show you the big pair that I have. So they look like this. And they're like gorgeous too, aren't they? And I don't think they're very expensive. I don't remember, but they're serrated. And I like serrated edges because what serrated means is there's these little bitty notches in there. And so when you cut your fabric, it's better for your fabric. It doesn't fray as much and all that. But serrated seems to cut better when you're getting through thick stuff too. So love these. Thank you guys. You're so sweet. Thank you all so much. Okay, well, thanks again for coming and showing up and spending your Sunday evening with me. I hope everyone learned a little bit of something today, and make sure to make those frames and post them up. We all want to see them, and I can't wait to see what you do with them. You put the vinyl or do your own little designs or all that. So thank you again so much. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And what have we got coming up? Anything exciting? No, not really. I will be teaching a class at Myers Sewing virtually, so you can check that out if you go to their webpage. It's Myers Sewing. They're in Colorado, and I am teaching a IQ. We're making a project with IQ. And also I'm doing a Palette 11 class the next day. So that is August. I don't have my calendar, but it's the first weekend in August. So go ahead and check it out. You're welcome, Elena. Go ahead and check it out. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And I hope to see you guys next Sunday. Thank you so much for coming and your support. I really appreciate all of you. And remember, shop local, shop small, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye, guys.